We are here today to talk about the Victoria's Secret Fashion Show 2024 because thin is definitely back in. Hey everyone, welcome back to the 1 Year 100 Pounds podcast. My name is Whitney Holcomb and I am author of the book 1 Year 100 Pounds. For those of you who are new here, I lost 100 pounds in 1 year on my own when I was 14 years old, and then I wrote a book about it. My book is a tough love weight loss guide for how I lost the weight and how you can also lose the weight too. However, I started a podcast and YouTube channel to give my thoughts on the weight loss community because I have kept it off for over 20 years. So I think I know a thing or two about losing weight, which is why I want to share some of my tips and inspiration for you guys if you are also on a similar journey. I also give my opinion on the body positivity movement and the fat acceptance movement, which I think has just gone too far because you cannot be healthy at every size. That's just not true. This is coming from someone who was obese. But anyhow, today we are talking about the Victoria's Secret fashion show that is back after 6 years. It took a hiatus after a lot of backlash for spreading, toxic body image issues. And they really took a downfall when the body positivity movement started taking shape. And I thought I would comment on this today because I literally just posted a video about how body positivity was a scam and how brands like Victoria's Secret tried to make money from it. But in Victoria's Secret's case, they failed miserably. And I talk about how in their attempt to be more inclusive, I think they actually just ended up offending people more. My reasoning was, like I said in the previous video, which you should definitely check out, I just think when they did have the plus size girls, they just purposely made them just not look good. Like, I don't know why they had to change their entire aesthetic. I think that all people were asking for was just, have a little more variety, have some different body shapes there. Not everyone has to be the same exact shape, the same exact race, but you can still keep the beautiful aesthetic, the glamorous stuff. I think all women love that. And I just think Victoria's Secret, like if you saw so apparently they say that this is their first fashion show after 6 years, but didn't they do one last year? Do we not all remember that weird fashion show thing they did that wasn't really a fashion show? It was just very strange. They did try to incorporate different body types, which I think is awesome. But again, like I said, they just did not put them in the best light. The styling was weird. The photos they took of them was weird. Then their whole fashion show thing was just weird. They were just trying, like I said in the previous video, I think their idea of being relatable or of the normal person is ugly. I think that they think the average person is ugly. And so they were trying to make these models that on their own are very beautiful, but they made them look worse. And I just don't think they did justice to the bigger girls. I don't think they did justice to any of the models. Anyhow, that was my criticism of them and, them trying to get in on the body positivity movement. However, they just had their fashion show last night, which aired on Amazon Prime, which I watched. And I was surprised to see that this time it was an actual fashion show. So right off the bat, I liked it. I liked the show. I think it definitely reminded me of the shows that I watched growing up, the shows of the early 2000s era. I thought it was really glamorous. I thought, everyone did a good job. I loved the clothing. I loved the makeup. I loved the model. And it was very apparent right from the get-go that Victoria's Secret is back. And meaning that thin is back. They had their normal models. They had some of the old angels as well as just some other, more beautiful models that I think really fit the Victoria's Secret aesthetic. So I was really happy to see that. Because again, I love the Victoria's Secret models. Look, I know that they had, a weird time period where they went over the top, but I always thought those girls were beautiful. To me, even the girls last night, I think they all looked amazing. I don't think that they were too thin. There might have been a couple that were a little bit too thin, but for the most part, I think they weren't. I think they looked amazing. For me, it was really motivating and inspiring to watch them. It definitely fueled my workout today. And it also fueled my makeup, hair, and earring decision today. So you can say I have the glittery hoops going on, which was a big theme in the show last night, which I love. loved. And I think that was exciting to see finally after all these years of Victoria's Secret trying to do this, trying to be part of the body positivity thing, which just didn't work for them because I think they did it wrong. And now we're back to celebrating the old angels, but also some of the new angels, some of the new plus size girls. So me personally, I think they did a good job at including their body types. They did have some bigger girls, the same bigger girls that were in their ads before that they just made look really bad for some reason. And now they looked beautiful again, because they just put them in the right lighting, the right makeup, the right styling. Had Ashley Graham, who is stunning. Yeah, I think they did a good job at including everyone. They even had some of like the older models like Kate Moss and some of the others. I don't know their names, but they were definitely, they were older women, either in like their 50s, 60s, which I think is awesome. Again, they looked amazing. They did like the typical Victoria's Secret aesthetic and they made them look really good. They didn't purposely try to make them look more relatable or ugly. They just, they were all glammed up. Adriana Lima looked insane. All of them looked insane. I was really happy with it. I think that like this is what the public was asking for before. We as normal women who may not be supermodels, we still want to be glamorous. Just because we asked to have a little more representation as far as like body diversity doesn't mean that we want to be ugly or we don't want to do our hair and makeup. I don't see why you can't have both. And I think that they did a good job too of choosing, models or plus size models, again, who were not morbidly obese. Okay. And again, I am someone, I don't agree with celebrating people like that as far as like the morbidly obese, just like I don't agree with celebrating models who are too thin because it's not healthy. And I don't think that anyone really finds that attractive. They just don't. So, I don't know, maybe there will still be some people who are criticizing them having some bigger girls in the show. I think they all looked great. And again, most of them were not they were not morbidly obese. They were just bigger. They were thicker. So, I really applaud Victoria's Secret. I think that they did a great job. They kept true to their aesthetic, the same aesthetic that, all of us millennials grew up with and loved, while also just being more inclusive and but doing it in the right way. So anyhow, I just had to jump on here as kind of a follow-up to my previous video, and also just to share my thoughts because, yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was great. Like I said, it fueled my workout today. That is another point I want to make too. When we celebrate healthy bodies, when we celebrate, okay, these women, they all worked really hard to get in the kind of shape that they were in. Again, I don't think most of them were too thin. I think they all looked amazing. To me is more motivating and inspiring. Like immediately when I saw that, I don't know, maybe some people see that and they just immediately feel bad about themselves. I don't. I'm kind of always been the opposite. Like I see that. And for me, it's like aspirational, like I don't necessarily see other people who are prettier than me or richer than me as like, oh, like they're trying to make me feel bad. I see it as like, oh, wow, that's aspirational. Like I like those qualities in that person and I want to be like that. So for me, that's how I took it. I mean, I think they've even done studies that show that when you look at someone who is like really attractive and in shape, you actually feel better about yourself than when you look at people who are not as attractive and not in shape. And again, I think it just comes down to number one, yes, we like beauty. And two, health. I think that we all aspire to be healthy and beautiful. And I think that Victoria's Secret did a really good job of that last night. Again, including all the women. I think the bigger girls, they did not look unhealthy to me. They looked like they're just bigger girls, I think Ashley Graham was actually probably the only one that would really be considered plus size. The other girls looked like they were more mid-size. At least that's what I thought. I don't know. What do you guys think? And Ashley Graham, I think she's beautiful, but she's definitely just, she was bigger than the other girls. Some people may have their thoughts on that. I don't personally see her as an example as like celebrating obesity. Again, I think there is a difference in celebrating obesity or celebrating being unhealthy, right? Like a lot of these fat acceptance or health at every size people say, versus just representing different body types. Because, look, here's the thing. Everyone needs to wear clothes, whether you are, bigger, smaller. I mean, look, everyone, we fluctuate, right? I mean, everyone is on different timelines in their journey. So, you may very well be plus size right now and working on getting healthy. Well, you still need to wear underwear right now, right? You still have to wear clothing. So again, I've said this before. I don't think that having plus size models or representing them in media is necessarily saying being fat is being healthy, unless you are specifically saying that, which is what we have seen in the past few years in like magazines and stuff, saying that yes, health at every size, fat people are healthy, all this, BS. But again, I don't think, just having a plus size model, again, especially one that is not morbidly obese, she's just bigger. I don't think that's saying like, yes, everybody should be fat. I think it's just saying, look, hey, we are all on different paths in our journey right now. Some people are bigger right now. They can't help it. They just had a baby or they're going through something, and it is what it is. But again, I also thought it was really great to see the old angels back. And, I think they finally realized that old aesthetic was popular for a reason. And I think a lot of women do want to look like the old Victoria's Secret models. I think it is what it is. I know I want to. I think there's nothing wrong with appreciating beauty. I think there's nothing wrong with celebrating people like that. Even if we know we can't attain it ourselves, they are on a whole other level. But I don't know. Again, I thought it was a fun show and I thought it was a really positive message, but I would be curious to see what you guys think. So leave me a comment below with your thoughts. If you like this episode, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel or podcast for more content like this. And I will see you guys next time.